So, what makes a story truly great? It's a question that gets right to the very heart of why we even tell them, isn't it? Today, we're going to try and deconstruct that very idea of literary greatness to see if we can find some answers.
I mean, we've all read stories that we enjoyed, right? But some just stick with us. They change something inside. So, what is that secret ingredient? What's the magic formula that separates a perfectly fine story from a truly great one?
To find out, we're not just going to talk theory. No, we're going to get our hands dirty and dive into two absolute masterworks from this very collection. We're talking the best of the best here, and they're holding the clues we're looking for.
Okay, so let's set this up. Our two case studies couldn't be more different. First, we've got Catherine Mansfield. Her writing is like this lush, detailed oil painting, you know? She explores every little corner of her character's internal worlds. And then you've got Ernest Hemingway. He's a master of that minimalist, less is more style, where the real story is found in what isn't being said. So two completely opposite approaches, both gunning for greatness. First up, let's step into the world of Catherine Mansfield and her brilliant story, The Garden Party. This is a story all about class, perception, and what happens when a perfect, beautiful day collides with a very harsh reality.
So, Mansfield starts by painting this picture of just absolute perfection. The Sheridan family is wealthy, they're sophisticated, and they're about to throw the most exquisite garden party imaginable. The sun is out, the roses are blooming, everything in their little privileged world is exactly as it should be.
But right away, Mansfield creates this tension. On one side, you get these glorious descriptions of the Sheridans' home, but then, just beyond their gate, literally down the hill, are the little mean dwellings of the working class, a whole other world they'd really rather just ignore. This contrast, this is the engine that drives the whole story.
And our guide through all this is the young, idealistic Laura Sheridan. She loves the beauty of her family's life, of course, but she's also really troubled by the inequality she sees. She feels how wrong these absurd class distinctions are, and she kind of just wishes they would all disappear. And then, bam, reality crashes the party. Word arrives that a working-class man from one of those little cottages, a Mr. Scott, has been killed in an accident right outside their front gate. The perfect day is suddenly shattered by death and poverty.
And this right here is the heart of it. Laura's immediate, empathetic response is, well, we have to cancel the party, of course. Her mother is just horrified by the suggestion, and her cold, dismissive reply, it just reveals this huge canyon between their worlds. The party has to go on.
Okay, now let's do a complete 180. We're leaving Mansfield's sunny garden and jumping into a dark cabin and the famously stripped-down world of Ernest Hemingway's The Three-Day Blow. The setting here is the total opposite of Mansfield's. It's bare bones, just the essentials. We've got two friends, Nick and Bill, and they're hunkered down in a cottage to wait out a storm. The atmosphere is everything. The fire, the whiskey, that wind just howling outside. And just listen to this dialogue. It's short, it's direct, and on the surface, it's about nothing important. They talk about the weather, baseball, fishing, books. They talk about anything and everything except what's actually weighing on Nick's mind. That storm outside? It's a perfect mirror for the storm brewing inside him. And then, pages into this seemingly random conversation, the truth just slips out. Bill mentions that it was the right thing to bust off that Marge business. And suddenly we realize this isn't just a casual hangout. Nick is reeling from ending a really serious relationship. This whole time they've been doing this carefully constructed dance around his pain.
And this is a brilliant example of Hemingway's famous iceberg theory. He believed that what you read on the page is just the tiny bit of the story that's visible above the water. The real meaning, all the emotion and weight of the story, is in the huge part of the iceberg that's hidden beneath the surface, powerfully felt, but never explicitly stated.
So in Hemingway's world, you, the reader, have to do some work. You have to read between the lines. The real story is built in the pauses, in the things they change the subject from, in the unspoken feelings. He basically forces us to become active participants, to piece together the emotional truth from the clues he gives us. So, we've got two totally opposite styles, right? Mansfield shows you everything, and Hemingway shows you almost nothing. But the true mark of their greatness, for me, really lies in their endings. Let's see how they each land that final punch. And their endings are just as different as their beginnings. Mansfield drives Laura toward this huge, overwhelming emotional epiphany about life and death itself. Hemingway, on the other hand, guides Nick toward this quiet, internal, almost stoic realization that just allows him to keep going.
At the end of the garden party, Laura ends up visiting the grieving family, and she sees the dead man's face, which looks peaceful to her. And the experience is so profound, so overwhelming, she can't even put it into words. The feeling is just too big for language. And that ambiguity, that's its power. It makes us feel that revelation right there with her.
Now, compare that to Nick's conclusion. As the storm rages on, he processes his heartbreak and finds this quiet resolve. The pain isn't magically gone, but it's manageable. He realizes that life goes on. And this stoicism, it's its own kind of power, isn't it? It shows that sometimes the biggest win is just being able to endure.
So, after looking at these two masterpieces, let's circle back to our original question. What makes a story truly, lastingly great? Let's break down the verdict.
So what are the ingredients? Well, first, it builds a world you can actually step into, whether that's a perfect garden party or a stormy little cabin. Second, it uses that world to explore a profound human truth, something about class or heartbreak or life and death. Third, the style is just masterful. It's deliberate and perfectly fits the story's emotional core. And finally, that ending, whether it's an overwhelming question or a quiet resolve, it just resonates long after you've put the book down.
Ultimately, what this whole comparison shows us is that there isn't just one single path to greatness. Not at all. Mansfield's ornate detail and Hemingway's stark minimalism are just different tools, really, used for the exact same purpose: to hold up a mirror and reveal something fundamental and true about all of us.
And that's what great stories do. They don't just entertain us, they change us, even if it's just a little bit. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. What story has ever made you see the world, or maybe even yourself, in a totally different light?